Ahead, the White House blaming the governor of Texas for shipping busloads of migrants to the vice president's home in bitter cold weather. This week, the Supreme Court is expected to rule on whether to keep the controversial Trump-era border restriction known as Title 42 in place. It allows border officials to deny people the right to seek asylum. This as several busloads of migrants were dropped off in front of Vice President Kamala Harris's residence on Christmas Eve in 18-degree weather, many of them wearing T-shirts. The nonprofit group SAMU First Response was prepared, though, for the arrivals. The group's managing director wrote on Twitter, "My team spent Christmas Eve giving their best, supporting migrants that arrived at night from the border. A very different Christmas for all of us, but I feel so proud to count with such an amazing group of humanitarians." And joining us now is the managing director for SAMU First Response, Tatiana Laborde. SAMU, by the way, stands for Servicio Ambulatorio Médico de Urgencia. I thank you for coming on. Can you give me a sense of what it was like? Did any of the migrants have any idea where they were going?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Yes, majority of them already reached their final destination. We had about 60% of those migrants that were heading to New York City to either shelters there or to meet friends and family. And this is a pattern we've been seeing over the past couple months.
What did you and your staff see when you got there and experience?
So we were prepared for very cold weather, so there were blankets available for all migrants, and we already had a respite center ready to receive them. We had warm food, and our team was there, understanding that Washington was not their final destination and ready to help them move forward.
Do you have a sense that Texas governor has not at this point said anything or responded to comments from the White House that they believe that Governor Abbott is responsible for sending the buses there? Do you have any sense of, how you decided they came from Texas? Did they tell you that?
Yeah, we got a heads up from one of the nonprofits at the border that these buses were heading our way. We were expecting them yesterday morning, but they showed up the night before. Thankfully, we had enough time to shift our logistics for Christmas Eve.
Tatiana, what do you make of the fact that they were dropped off in front of the vice president's home?
Look, at this point, they've been doing that for so many months that we have the system already down, and it's just another spot that has very little impact. We have buses on site ready to just move them quickly and get them to a safe place.
Do you think this is, as the White House has said it, sort of a cruel decision being made with people's lives?
Well, there's two ways to look at it, right? The way they're doing it is extremely inhumane, but it is a service to the migrants. A lot of them don't want to stay in Texas. A large majority keep wanting to go up north. So this gets them closer, and it gets them away from places that have very little connectivity into metropolitan areas where taking a bus is much easier, or a train or a plane. So if it's done correctly, it could really help ease in the tensions at the border.
How's your staff able to support all of the people coming in?
Well, we've been doing this for 7 months now. We now have a staff of 35, and we're able to take shifts so that nobody is extremely overtired. Now, doing this on Christmas Eve, when you have a staff of Latinos, where that's our main celebration, it's extremely taxing, but they were all very happy to be able to share and give a little hope and a warm welcome to these migrants.
The migrants are here legally, as we understand it. They are seeking asylum. And so what do you make of how they have been treated, and what are they telling you about their journey?
So the journey on bus is extremely long. They get not the best food. They get meals ready to eat, military food. So they are exhausted when they come here. They're also, now because of winter, experiencing very, very different temperatures that they're used to. So it's a first shock of what's coming ahead in the winter. But at the end of the day, what we see on them is that hope that they've made it to where they really want to be, and they're able to provide their family a better future.
I do want to ask you quickly about at border towns. El Paso, I've spoken to a councilwoman there who has talked about this crisis, and she said there is no doubt there's a crisis and that they are inundated with people. What can the border states like Texas do to sort of streamline this process?
Absolutely, and what they're seeing is much worse than what we see here. About 3 buses is just a small portion of what they experience on a day-to-day. If things like this are done in a coordinated and humane manner, it could really be a good option for those border towns that are struggling.
Tatiana Laborde, thank you so much for joining us and sharing the experience of those migrants and your work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amazing work that they do.